This episode of Mob Psycho was definitely an entertaining one, and did a lot that I predicted last week. Definitely, I assumed that Ritsu would become some sort of villain, some sort of nemesis to our MC Mob, which 100% he does, especially with that ending where Mob does see Ritsu and asks what is he doing, and there's just a pile of bodies around him too, so there's no way he can talk his way out of it. But then again, it is Mob who's a little oblivious to everything, so he might actually be able to convince him. But the fact that Dimple's inside him, I think even Mob's going to be able to figure out what's going on here. But we'll have to wait and see. But this episode was fairly enjoyable, especially because we really get to see what happens to someone who has been jealous and also scared of his brother's power, because he always wanted to be like him. And now that he got this power thanks to Dimple, because Dimple does try to use him and possess him, but because Dimple is still so weak, he can't actually possess him, so all it really does is allow Ritsu's power to really kind of shine on the world, and he becomes a monster. I mean, he just wreaks havoc. The school is becoming even more and more corrupt, and the student council president is actually getting his ass beat every day after school because these gang leaders want a piece of the action for this guy. And it was just so entertaining watching, not only just feeling satisfied that the president is getting his ass beat because of the sick and twisted shit he did to some of these characters in the school, planting, girls' underwear and shit in their bags, taking the girls' flute mouthpieces there and hiding them in Onigara's bag. Like, that's just fucked up. So it's great to see him get some sort of satisfactory violence, so to speak. I really enjoyed that. But I think my favorite part of the episode is actually conning the con artist this week, because this con artist tries to make Mob pay for a very cheap vase that he breaks. Well, actually, she breaks. Mob does end up saving it once before it falls, but then she smashes into Mob, so he breaks it. So then we get to have Reagan pop up and con them by making them say, oh, you broke my collarbone, you've wrecked my shirt, you did this, you did this, you did this, and piles on the exact amount of money that they supposedly, had to have Mob pay, which I think was like 5 million yen. And then what ends up happening is he gives this horror story about how they're gonna get haunted and possessed, and then the room starts shaking, it gets all red and shit, and he actually thinks Mob is doing it, but it looks like it was an actual ghost, and Mob asks Reagan, what, could you not see it? No, of course I saw it. I mean, I'm Reagan, of course I can see it. And then Mob starts saying how con artists are the worst people, and Reagan just kind of looking away like, yeah, of course they are the worst people ever. I just love that dynamic, watching Reagan con the con artist and then still play Mob like he's a fool. I mean, Reagan might be a con artist, but at least he's decent in some ways. He's still an asshole, but at least he is decent, unlike these people. And I really enjoyed that comedy there. That was really nice. But yeah, definitely, like I predicted, Mob's brother is turning evil, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next week, because more than likely he's going to get out of it without them fighting, more than likely for now. But they are going to fight at one point. I don't see any way around that. But the fact that, Mob is oblivious to a lot of things, so it is very well possible that even Dimple or his brother could manipulate Mob into just kind of walking away and not actually seeing what's truly happening there. He could easily say, oh, self-defense, I was just really good, and maybe he'll be even able to cover up Dimple's presence somehow with his power. That's a possibility, but I would really like kind of a throwdown between the two. I think that'd be really interesting. Mob probably wouldn't fight back for a long while and probably get his ass beat a lot, but I think that'd be interesting. But more than likely, we aren't going to see a fight between them just yet. I feel like they will manipulate him because Mob isn't the brightest. He is clueless to a lot of things. So that's easily a possibility that they'll be able to get around it. But I think before the season wraps up, we are going to get that fight. But I really do like that one of Mob's probably greatest enemies is actually going to be his own brother. And I think that's going to add a really interesting dynamic for emotional pull and just everything else. However, we do get Tenga back, and he has like this wig that's the most giant hair you could ever freaking imagine. That was hilarious, watching the girls just freak out over that. And Ritsu tries to start a fight with him, and Tenga just super fast grabs his hand and basically shoots his psychic presence into him to really get him to go away, to say, oh, thank you for the handshake. Like, because this guy's OP as hell. Ritsu is not on par with him as of yet, so that was really interesting as well. And it's good to see that he did kind of learn from Mob in his battle, and he's not such an asshole anymore. I really did enjoy that. But once again, like all the animation, facial expressions, they do so many stylized shots, especially when the student council president is running away, and they do that really detailed drawing of freeze frame. Like, all of the individual animation shots are on point. But I'm really glad we got Dimple back in the action, because he is one of my favorite characters so far with Mob Psycho 100. But overall, it was a great episode. I predicted some of the outcomes here, but, that whole Reagan scene with the the con artist. I did not see things like that coming. Like, that was really entertaining. But overall, I really enjoyed the episode. Not my favorite episode of Mob Psycho, but definitely one of the better ones for sure. So if you watched the episode, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And what do you think is going to happen next week with Mob versus Ritsu? How do you see that going down? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that like button to show your support and subscribe if you're new to my channel. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.